Most drivers are unknowingly wrecking their engine every cold morning, and it's costing them thousands in repairs. Mechanics won't warn you, but a few simple cold start secrets can completely change how long your engine lasts. Watch this till the end. There's a bonus tip waiting that could save you from a $3,000 mistake. First of all, let's uncover the secret of what really happens inside your engine during a cold start. The moment you turn the key on a freezing morning, 4 critical things happen under the hood, and almost all of them put your engine at risk. First, your engine oil thickens, like honey left in the fridge. At 0 degrees Fahrenheit, that oil flows up to 10 times slower than normal. And since oil is what cushions and protects your moving parts, that sluggish flow means your engine is essentially grinding itself awake without proper lubrication. Second, your battery is struggling. Cold weather robs it of its strength. At 0 degrees Fahrenheit, it only has about half its usual power. That means your starter motor is working harder than ever, pulling from a weak battery just to get the engine going. It's like trying to sprint with frozen legs. Third, your fuel system gets messy. In warm weather, fuel is sprayed into the engine in a fine mist, allowing it to burn cleanly. But in the cold, that mist turns into clumsy droplets. Instead of clean combustion, you get poor atomization, rough idling, and wasted fuel. It's like trying to light a campfire with soggy logs. Fourth, you've probably noticed your engine idling at higher RPMs on cold mornings, around 1,500 instead of the usual 800. That's not a glitch. That's your car trying to warm up quickly, keeping the engine from stalling while everything is still stiff and cold. But here's what almost no one talks about. Cold metal shrinks. The pistons, valves, and other components inside your engine aren't the perfect fit they are when hot. They're smaller, misaligned, and dry. So when the engine starts, these cold parts scrape against each other until the heat causes them to expand and fit correctly. That grinding noise you hear, that's metal on metal contact. And every second it lasts is damaging your engine. And it's not just the engine block at risk. Your catalytic converter, the expensive filter in your exhaust system, is completely useless during a cold start. Why? Because it only works when hot. Meanwhile, your engine runs rich, using extra fuel to stay alive in the cold. That unburnt fuel flows through your exhaust and hits a cold converter, soaking it in chemicals it was never meant to handle. Over time, that fuel-rich abuse can wreck it completely, and replacing one. Expect a bill between $800 to $3,000. All of this happens within the first 30 seconds to 5 minutes of starting your car. That tiny window is where most of the long-term engine wear occurs, which means if you get those first few minutes wrong, your engine, your wallet, and your morning peace of mind all suffer. Secret number 2, cold start mistakes that kill your engine. Now that you know how vulnerable your engine is during those first few minutes, let's talk about what most drivers do wrong every single day. These aren't small mistakes. They are engine killers, and I've seen them total vehicles that could have lasted years. Let's start with the most common and most satisfying mistake. Revving the engine right after startup. Sure, it sounds cool. That aggressive vroom on a winter morning, it might feel like you're waking the beast, but you're actually slapping it in the face. When you rev a cold engine, you're forcing those contracted, dry, misaligned metal parts to move fast before they're ready. That sharp knocking sound, it's called piston slap, and it's your engine's cry for help. It's the sound of metal punching metal before the oil even has a chance to reach where it's needed. Next up, the myth that long idling warms up your car better. Spoiler, it doesn't. In fact, modern fuel-injected engines are designed to warm up faster when driven gently, not while sitting still. Here's why. When idling cold, your engine runs a rich fuel mixture, meaning it pumps in more fuel than usual just to stay running. But that extra fuel doesn't all burn. Some of it slips past the piston rings and mixes with your engine oil, diluting it. That rich, fuel-soaked oil loses its protective qualities, and your engine wears down faster. The fix? Start the engine, wait 30 to 60 seconds, and then drive gently, keeping the RPMs under 3,000. You'll warm the engine more evenly, burn fuel more cleanly, and protect your oil from contamination. Here's mistake number 3, one that kills engines slowly and silently. Too many short trips. When you only drive a few blocks at a time, your engine never reaches full operating temperature. That means all the moisture created during combustion stays trapped inside. And in cold weather, that moisture mixes with combustion byproducts to form acidic sludge, the kind that corrodes your internal components from the inside out. You don't see it right away, but months later, it shows up in the form of oil breakdown, rust, misfires, and check engine lights you don't understand. Now, mistake number 4, using the wrong oil viscosity. In winter, oil that's too thick is a disaster. Imagine pouring maple syrup through a straw. That's what your engine experiences with the wrong oil on a cold morning. It can't circulate fast enough, and without proper flow, critical components stay dry, even as they start moving. For cold climates, make sure you're using the oil grade recommended for winter by your vehicle's manufacturer. The number before the W in your oil spec, that's your winter rating. Pay attention to it. And we're not done yet. There's one more mistake that quietly destroys turbocharged engines. Not during the start, but right before shutdown. And it's something almost no one thinks about. Secret number 3. Turbo engines mistakes, heater habits, and the shutdown that destroys engines. Let's talk about turbos, the high-performance, high-risk component hiding under the hoods of millions of cars today. If your car has a turbocharger, there's a cold start killer you probably never even considered. And it doesn't happen during startup. It happens right before shutdown. After a long drive, especially one involving high speeds or heavy acceleration, your turbo is still spinning at up to 200,000 RPM and is blazing hot, sometimes over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The only thing protecting it is oil, cool, circulating oil that keeps the bearings and shaft from scorching. Now imagine this, you pull into a parking spot, kill the ignition, and walk away. Big mistake. When you shut off the engine, the oil flow stops immediately. But your turbo is still spinning like mad. Without fresh oil, that trapped residual oil inside the turbo starts to cook, breaking down into carbon deposits that act like sandpaper during your next cold start. Those deposits grind into the turbo's precision components, wearing them down until one day it just gives out. And when a turbo fails, you're looking at a $1,500 to $4,000 repair. The fix is so simple it hurts. Let your engine idle for 30 to 60 seconds before shutting off, especially after spirited driving. That short moment of cool down keeps oil circulating just long enough to protect your turbo's life. Now, onto another surprising cold weather mistake, cranking your heater to max the second you start the car. It feels good, sure, but blasting the heater at full blast during a cold start is like pulling the covers off your engine before it's ready to wake up. Your car's heater works by drawing heat from the engine's coolant. The moment you turn the heater to max, you're pulling heat away from the engine block, the very thing it needs to reach optimal operating temperature. That means your engine warms up slower, burns more fuel, and stays in its most vulnerable state longer. Here's the move. For the first 5 minutes, either leave the heater off or keep it on low. Wait until your temperature gauge climbs to at least the quarter mark before turning it up. That simple delay could help your engine warm up faster and reduce overall cold start damage. And if you're thinking, it's just comfort, it can't matter that much. Remember, every second your engine spends below its operating temperature is a second of poor lubrication, excess fuel consumption, and long-term wear. But we're still not done. Because even if you warm up your engine perfectly, there's another system under your car that's even more fragile in the cold. And one wrong move can send your repair bill into the thousands. Secret number 4, transmission trouble and fuel freezing. The hidden cold start dangers no one talks about. So far, we've covered the damage cold starts can do to your engine. But there's another system that suffers just as much in silence. Your automatic transmission. And what's worse, most people never even think about it until it's too late. Think of your transmission as a network of hydraulic vanes, clutch packs, and valve bodies, some of them thinner than a human hair. Every gear change depends on one thing, fluid flow. But in cold weather, that fluid becomes so thick it's like trying to squeeze molasses through a coffee straw. And here's the mistake. You start your car, immediately shift into drive and pull away like it's any other day. But your transmission, it's still ice cold. That thick fluid isn't reaching the narrowest passages fast enough. The result? Harsh engagements, clunky shifts, and delayed response, all signs that your transmission is struggling. Even worse, in sub-zero temperatures, the rubber seals inside your transmission shrink. That creates tiny gaps, and those gaps allow fluid to bypass where it should go. You'll feel it as slipping, hesitation, or, in extreme cases, total loss of gear engagement. I once saw this happen to a customer's Subaru Outback. Every winter morning, it would slip into neutral for the first few minutes. Why? Because the seals shrank overnight. The fluid couldn't build pressure where it was needed, and that daily abuse eventually destroyed the transmission. So here's the fix. Start your engine, wait 30 to 60 seconds, then shift into drive, gently. Keep speeds low for the first 5 minutes. That gives both your engine and your transmission a chance to come up to temperature safely. But that's not the only hidden danger lurking in cold weather. Let's talk about your fuel. Something you probably assume is the same at every pump. It's not. In winter, cheap gas can destroy your cold start. Why? Because not all stations add the same level of winter-grade additives. Some fuels lack the detergents and antifreeze agents needed to keep the system flowing when temperatures drop. That means your fuel lines can literally start to freeze, turning your next cold start into a no start. If your car stutters, struggles to start, or randomly throws fuel system codes in winter, low-quality fuel is often the culprit. The fix? Stick with major brand gas stations during cold months, the ones that follow strict seasonal fuel standards. That extra dollar at the pump might save you hundreds in frozen fuel line repairs. Now, if you're driving a diesel, listen closely, because your situation is even more delicate. Diesel engines rely on compression ignition, which means they need to be warmer to fire properly. And those glow plugs? They're like tiny space heaters for your cylinders, but they need time. Firing up a diesel too fast is like trying to boil water with the stove barely on. Give your diesel at least 30 seconds more warm-up time than a gas engine before moving. Trust me, you'll feel the difference in performance and longevity. But all this raises a bigger question. So how exactly should you start your car in the cold, step by step, to avoid all this damage? That's exactly what we'll cover next. Secret number 5, the perfect cold start routine. Step-by-step guide for engine protection. All right, now that you know what's at stake, let's break down exactly how to start your car in cold weather the right way. This isn't guesswork. It's what I tell customers every winter, and following these simple steps could literally add years to your engine's life. Step 1, don't touch the gas pedal. Modern engines are smart, especially fuel-injected ones. When you turn the key or press start, your car's engine control module, ECM, is already taking in data. Air temperature, coolant temperature, throttle position. Based on that, it adjusts the air-fuel mixture, ignition timing, and idle speed, all automatically. So if you press the gas during startup, you're actually fighting the system. You're flooding the engine with fuel it doesn't need, throwing off the balance the computer is trying to create. Only exception? If you're driving an older carbureted car, one gentle pump of the gas pedal before turning the key is okay. That activates the accelerator pump, spraying a small amount of fuel into the carburetor. But more than one pump, and you risk flooding the engine completely. Step 2, let it idle, briefly. Once it's started, don't just sit there for 10 minutes. That's outdated advice. What you should do is let it idle for about 30 to 60 seconds. During this time, the oil begins circulating to critical parts of the engine. Watch your tachometer. You'll see the RPM slowly drop as the idle stabilizes. That's your cue that it's safe to move on. Step 3, drive, but keep it gentle. After that first minute, begin driving. But think of it like walking on ice. Keep your RPMs under 2,500, avoid sudden acceleration, and treat your car like it's got a full cup of coffee sitting on the dash. Smooth, steady, and no hard moves. Why? Because while your coolant temperature gauge may show warm after a few minutes, your oil is still catching up. Oil warms slower than coolant, and until it's fully up to temperature, your engine is still vulnerable. So even if you feel tempted to get going after 3 minutes, wait. Let everything settle in first. Step 4, don't forget your transmission. Give it those extra seconds before shifting into gear. Let it build pressure and warm the fluid slightly. Avoid sudden reverse to drive shifts or hard acceleration for at least the first 5 to 10 minutes. Step 5, use your heater wisely. Resist the urge to blast it from the moment the car starts. Keep it low or off until the engine reaches at least a quarter on the temperature gauge. You'll still get warm air soon, and your engine will thank you by lasting longer. Step 6, use a block heater if you live in a deep freeze. If winter in your area means temperatures below minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, a block heater is essential, not optional. It plugs into a wall outlet and keeps your engine block and coolant warm overnight. That means faster starts, less wear, and oil that actually flows when you need it. If you've never used one, it's as simple as plugging in a cord when you park. And trust me, the difference in how your engine starts is night and day. Step 7, remote starters are fine, in moderation. If you like pre-warming your car from inside the house, that's okay. Just don't let it idle for more than a couple of minutes before you start driving. Remember, gentle motion warms up your car faster than sitting still ever will. Follow these steps and you'll avoid the most common and most expensive cold start mistakes out there. But even if you do all this right, there's one last thing you need to prepare for: winter breakdown prevention. That's what we'll cover in the final segment. The winter maintenance checklist every driver should complete before the cold hits. Secret number 6, the winter maintenance checklist that could save you thousands. So you've nailed the perfect cold start routine, but that's only half the battle. Even the best habits won't save your car if it's not winter ready under the hood. Cold weather exposes every weak spot, and one overlooked system can bring everything down. That's why I always give my customers a winter checklist, and now I'm giving it to you. Number 1, test your coolant. Don't just top it off. Most people think full means fine, but that's a myth. You need to know your coolant's freeze point. If it's not rated for sub-zero temps, it can literally turn to slush in your radiator, cracking hoses, or even warping your engine block. Get a simple tester. They cost a few bucks, and make sure you're protected to at least minus 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 2, load test your battery, not just voltage. A battery can show 12 volts and still be too weak to start your car in the cold. Why? Because volts measure charge, not strength. You need a load test. It checks how well your battery performs under real stress. Most auto parts stores will do it for free. If it's weak, don't wait. Replace it before it strands you. Number 3, check your fuel system, especially for water. Winter can introduce condensation into your fuel tank, especially if you run low often. That moisture builds up, freezes in fuel lines, and can destroy injectors or filters. Use a fuel system cleaner with water remover, and keep your tank at least half full during cold spells to prevent ice buildup. Number 4, inspect your fuel filter and lines. Old or clogged filters restrict fuel flow, and in winter, that restriction gets worse. If your car struggles to start or sputters in the cold, a dirty fuel filter could be the hidden cause. Don't wait until it fails. Get it checked and replaced if needed. Number 5, use winter-rated windshield washer fluid. Sounds basic, right? But you'd be shocked how many people crack their washer fluid tanks because they forgot to switch from summer mix. Make sure yours is rated for sub-freezing temps, ideally minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, or it could freeze solid and burst. Number 6, check your tires. Cold affects pressure and grip. Every 10-degree Fahrenheit drop in temperature can reduce your tire pressure by 1 to 2 pounds per square inch. Low pressure equals less control, worse fuel economy, and uneven wear. Check your pressure weekly and consider winter tires if you live in a snow-heavy area. They make a bigger difference than you think. Number 7, know when to use your block heater. If temperatures in your area regularly drop below minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, a block heater isn't just helpful, it's vital. It keeps your oil and coolant warm enough to circulate properly and gives your engine a massive head start on cold mornings. Even just 2 to 3 hours before your morning drive can make a huge difference. And finally, a bonus tip: keep an emergency kit in your car. Winter breakdowns happen fast, and being unprepared can turn a delay into a danger. Keep a kit with a jumper pack, flashlight, thermal blanket, gloves, and a basic tool set. You might not need it, but if you ever do, you'll be glad it's there. By taking care of these simple maintenance steps now, you're doing more than avoiding cold start damage. You're making sure your car survives the winter smarter, stronger, and safer. Because the truth is, winter doesn't ruin engines. Neglect does. If this helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I've got more real-world tips coming to keep your car running strong. Got questions or cold start stories to share? Drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching.